Share from Dave Horowitz. What happens if somebody uses somebody else's property without rishus, and he rents it to somebody else, and he receives rental payment? Who receives this money? Who gets this money? There's three options. The owner, the masker who rented it out, or the soicher who hired it. For example, somebody used a car of a rental company and kept it by him for a while, and during that time he rented it out to other people and received payment. Who gets this money? Now, there's a difference between karka and metaltalin, and this is a machlokes between the Beis Yosef and the Ramah. Now, by metaltalin says the Beis Yosef, just like the halacha is, if somebody steals somebody else's item and he uses it, he's potter from paying for the usage. He's potter to pay for the rental that he's using it, because he's a gazlan. And as we said, a gazlan has certain kinyonim in the item, and therefore he has the usage without having to pay for it. All his chiyuv is to return the item. Same here. So in this case, if somebody uses somebody else's thing and he rents it out to other people, it's the same thing. Just like he himself would be potter to pay for the usage, he's also potter from giving over, from transferring the rental that he received, the rental payment that he received from somebody else. He's potter from transferring that to the balabais, just like he himself is potter. Because by metaltalin, he has a din of a gazlan. As soon as he uses somebody else's item, he has a din of a gazlan. And a gazlan is potter to pay for the usage, whether the usage is his own usage or the usage that he gave over to somebody else, that he rented it over to somebody else and received payment for it. However, the Ramah argues. The Ramah holds he has to transfer the money to the balabais. Why? So he quotes a Mishnah in Bava Metzia. The Mishnah says, what happens if somebody rents a parah? He rents a cow and then he's mashal, he lends it to somebody else. Now the halacha is, a soicher is potter from einsin, a shoyel is chayiv einsin. So now, after the soicher lent it out to somebody else, an oinus happens to the parah dies, or some other oinus. So a shoyel is chayiv einsin. The soicher, he's potter, because the soicher is potter from einsin. Who gets the money for the nezek, for the einsim that happened to this cow? The shoyel is chayiv to pay because he's a shoyel. The shoyel is chayiv to pay. Who does this money go to? Says Rabbi Yossi in the Mishnah, Ein oisin schayra b'parasa shel Chaviru. The money has to go over to the balabayis, to the original owner, because the middleman, the soicher, has no right to do business with somebody else's parah. Says the Ramah, if so, the same is here. The same applies over here. If somebody uses somebody else's item and he rents it out to somebody else, he can't get the schirus. It has to go to the balabais. Ein adam oises chayra parasa shel Chaviru. That's the Shittas Ramah. Now, all this is only by metaltalin, because metaltalin, he becomes a gazlan. Whereas by karkois, if somebody squats, and uses somebody else's property, he lives in somebody else's property without permission, The klal is karka in an exelis. Karka cannot become stolen to have a din of gazlan on it. And therefore, even the Beis Yosef who says that by metaltalin, he's potter from transferring the money to the balabais, because since he's a gazlan, his whole chiyuv is just to return the item, not to pay for his usage. That's only by metaltalin when he becomes a gazlan. Whereas by karka, which is an exelis, even the Beis Yosef agrees that the soicher has absolutely no rights on the item, on the property, to rent it out, and therefore the money has to be transferred to the balabais. Kol tov.